we're going to go over multiplying and dividing integers. And if you've been having a hard time with adding and subtracting, and that's been a discouraging process, the news is good because this is, in my opinion, much easier to do. The major thing is, the major hang-up is that a lot of times after we do this, people start doing adding and subtracting incorrectly. So what I'm asking you to do now is to try to compartmentalize and think of adding and subtracting as something I did in the last things that I helped you with. It's also a different section on Connexus, and it's a different set of rules. These rules for multiplying and dividing are easier, in my opinion, but they're different. So when you have an addition problem or subtraction problem, you have to do the addition subtraction rules. The rules we're talking about today only apply to problems that involve multiplication or division. So you absolutely have to keep that straight. So let's dive right in and look at what the rules are and see what we need to do. So the thing that makes this easier to me is that the actual process of multiplication and division doesn't change. We have a number here, the dot, you probably know this by now, but the dot means to multiply. So we have -5 times -2. So the good news is if you have a problem with 5 times 2, whether one number is negative, no numbers are negative, both numbers are negative, it doesn't matter. You're still going to multiply like you've always multiplied. 5 times 2 is still 10. No matter how you look at it, 5 times 2 is 10. So that's good. The multiplication doesn't change. With addition and subtraction, remember, even though it said addition, sometimes you had to subtract because the signs were different. This, you would still multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. So if I'm doing this problem, I'm going to multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. And all we need to know is if the signs are the same, the answer is always positive. So if I have two negatives I'm multiplying together, the answer is positive. I know with adding and subtracting, the signs are the same, we add and kept, so we actually end up with a negative answer. Multiplying is different. Signs are the same, answer's always positive. 5 times 2 is 10. -5 times -2 is also 10. So now we're at a division problem right over here. It's going to be the same thing. 15 divided by 3, no matter whether one's positive, negative, both are negative, it doesn't matter. 15 divided by 3 is still 5. The number doesn't change. We divide normally. Then we look at our signs. One's negative, the other's negative. Signs are the same. The answer is positive. The answer would be positive 5. So now we look at a slightly different problem. Just like I said before, let me get the lesson back up. Back up with the next part. Don't know what's wrong with my computer today. It is going crazy. Probably, I don't know. Okay. So, look, we're not doing much else here. The signs are different. We just need to know the answer is negative. So that's the only thing that changes on these two problems. Same sign, the answer is positive. Different signs, negative. The process of multiplying 4 times 3 doesn't change. 4 times 3 is 12. Since the signs are different, back up. Don't know what's wrong with my computer, so apologize for that. So the only thing that changes here is now we have two different signs. Before we had the same sign, we said the answer is always positive if the signs are the same. Two negatives make a positive, two positives make a positive when you multiply or divide. So for a situation where the sign's different, like this, let's switch to red here. When the signs are different, the answer is going to be negative. That's the only thing that changes. So like 4 times 3 is 12, no matter what the sign says. 4 times 3 is 12. What I notice is we have a -4 and a +3. So since the sign is different, it's going to be a -12. If you didn't remember this from last year, parentheses that touch mean to multiply. And then come over here, a fraction bar is just another way to show division. So this is -18 divided by 3. The sign, as far as getting the number part of the answer, the signs do not matter. 18 divided by 3 is 6, no matter what the signs say. Now we're going to look at the signs. We notice that we have a -18 and a +3. So since the signs are different, it's a negative answer. So essentially, when you're dealing with multiplication and division, if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. And that's the main thing to remember. And multiplication and division doesn't change. Now, once again, don't get that confused with addition and subtraction, because this is a different set of rules, and the rules you learn for addition and subtraction are different than this. One of the ways that some people will remember this, let me clear off my ink here, is I've seen people teach it with a tic-tac-toe board. This may or may not help you. I don't know. But the way it works is you put positives down the diagonal and then fill in negatives on the rest. And once again, this only works for multiplication or division, okay? If you have a positive times a negative, see where I'm putting the dots? The answer is negative. So I just looked across. Positive times a negative equals a negative. Different signs equals a negative. A negative times a positive equals a negative. Different signs, negative. And then looking across here, a negative times a negative equals a positive. Same signs, positive. I don't know if that translates as well to watching a video and getting it. I can try to find someone who explains it better. I don't know. But that is one way that I've seen people remember how to do these. So let's look at this. So 64 divided by 8 is 8. I notice I have two different signs, a negative times a positive. I could use the tic-tac-toe board if I wanted to. Positive, 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 and then fill in some negatives. That should be a positive. And so this situation, I have a negative times a positive, so that would be this line here. Negative times a positive equals a negative. Negative 8. Different signs equals a negative. All right, moving on to number 2. 10 times 2 is 20. I don't have to think about that any more than that. Signs are different, so the answer will be negative because we have a negative 10 and a positive 2. Once again, we could use our tic-tac-toe board, fill in our positives, fill in the negatives everywhere else. This is a negative times a positive, so that would be a negative. Let me switch colors so you can see where I'm writing. A negative times a positive equals a negative. So it'd be negative 20. All right, moving on along. I'm going to erase this tic-tac-toe board so I don't mess up what I'm doing on the next part. All right, let's try to get that erased. Okay, got most of it, hopefully. Yeah, I think we can see what we're doing now. All right, so 20, remember fraction mark just means to divide. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Signs are the same, so I know the answer is going to be positive. If you need to draw this negative, positive, positive, fill in negatives. So this is a negative and a negative, so that would be the bottom line. A negative times a negative is always positive, so positive 10. I'm not going to do this at help order anymore. You can use it if you need to. All right, 7 times 4 is 28. One number is net positive, the other is negative. Since the signs are different, it's a negative answer, negative 28. 3 times 3 is 9. One 3 is negative, the other 3 is also negative. So the negative times a negative makes a positive 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. One 9 is negative, the other 9 is positive. Since the signs are different, the answer is going to be negative. And that's multiplication division. Please let me know what you need help with and what questions you have.